Before you actually get into designing and engineering the part, it's very important that you get an idea of what the product actually is about, what its context of use is, and what specific constraints you might have. For example, you want to know if the product is going to be used outdoors or indoors, you want to know if the product is going to be used by the water, and you want to know if there's any specific mechanical stresses that the part is going to be subject about. Some areas might require particular attention. For example, if you have some mating surfaces and there's going to be some joinery happening there. And also surface finish is a very big topic. All these factors, they can point us in the right direction in terms of choosing the right material, choosing the right part orientation when we approach slicing, and also choosing nozzle size and general print parameters. Having a robotic system allows us to really tackle the parts from very different angles and approaches in terms of slicing. We can print a part vertically at a 90-degree angle, as with many desktop technologies, or we can go and print our parts at a 45-degree angle horizontally, which allows us to create closed volumes. Another very interesting possibility with robotic printing is we can use multi-axis slicing strategies, such as non-planar slicing, cladding, and revolve slicing for any kind of part that has surface development that is kind of complex and might require the complete freedom of a robotic system. Each slicing method is going to very directly impact surface quality and even mechanical behavior in certain cases. For example, if we employ a larger layer height, what we're going to be left with is, on one hand, a quicker print, but on the other hand, a more pronounced notch effect on the surface, which might result into a weaker part. Another thing we might have to consider, for example, is if we use a multi-axis slicing approach, we're going to have certain areas of the object which are going to have a higher layer height than other parts of the object. And in those regions, for example, the adhesion might be a bit worse than in others. All in all, these are not the negative aspects of the technology itself. They're simply criteria that we have to be mindful of whenever we design and slice a part.
Big choice comes from choosing to work with pellets instead of filaments. By working with pellet-based material, we reduce cost, increase flow rate, and open access to a wide range of thermoplastic compounds, from standard polymers such as PP, ABS, and PTG to advanced formulations such as PA or PEI. Another important factor is the possibility to reinforce these pellets with mineral, carbon, and glass fibers. We work across a wide range of sectors. In aerospace, where trim and drill masks show how LFAM can deliver high precision and production with certified quality. In design and architecture, it demonstrates how additive manufacturing merges artistry with industrial precision. In automotive, custom vehicles parts highlights the ability to create complex, lightweight, and fully tailored components with ease. And in the marine sector, a 3D printed boat represents the next step where performance and sustainability comes together through innovation.
When you go and develop and engineer and design a part for LFAM, one of the first things you really want to have clear in mind is what part orientation you're considering. So which orientation are you going to place the part in the slicing software? Because that's going to dictate a lot of the limits that you have and a lot of the potentials also that you can leverage from the robotic system. One thing you'll have to keep in mind is you'll have to manage overhangs without the use of supports like you would normally do on a desktop printer, and you're going to have to create reinforcements using structural ribs as opposed to infills. In general, you have to keep in mind that when you're designing for this technology, you are effectively designing the cross-section of the part across its development, controlling what will happen in slicing at different parts of the object. In general, it's very important to keep control of the thermal profile of the part, and it's best in general to adopt a much leaner approach on the geometry as opposed to regular desktop technologies. One very interesting possibility is that of combining multiple parts into one print, nesting multiple components into an array or into any sort of combination that will give you a massive reduction in terms of lead time and costs. Specific features such as embossments or hole marks can be added directly in the print, And overall, you can also use different kinds of fixing systems directly integrated in slicing or using mechanical aids to fix the part onto the printing bed and making sure that your part does not warp and move around while it's printing. The single biggest mistake I see people make when they approach robotic printing is tending to treat it sort of like desktop printing technologies, which really isn't the case. In this case, we're really working with much larger beads, much larger layers, much larger objects.
At Caracol, we developed our proprietary technology thanks to our extensive process of know-how, be it through real-world application produced in-house. Caracol also offers dedicated training programs that me and Giacomo are in charge of to boost the adoption of our robotic LFAM technology to our customers so they can become fully autonomous in a very short time.